What is the most interesting piece of local folklore or local legend where you're from? We have a strange one from my hometown in the Midwest. The legend follows: if you go to this certain bridge at night in the middle of the Botanas, you need to bring 3 things. 1. Baby powder. 2. A vehicle to get you there, and for the supernatural to occur, 3. A change of pants. When you get to this bridge, you're supposed to park your car in the middle of it and leave it idling. Take the baby powder and sprinkle it on your front and back bumper. Then, you wait. Soon things become silent, and you can hear faint distorted screams. Sometimes the car will shake. Once you've had enough, turn off the car and go check out your bumpers. There should be handprint in the baby powder. Proceed to change underwear and leave as fast as possible. They have a similar legend like this in San Antonio, Texas. Basically, the legend goes that a bus full of kids got stuck on a train rail with the train hurtling towards them. No one survived. Now if you go and leave your car on the tracks, the ghost kids will push you and your car off the tracks and leave a ton of little handprints. It's supposed to be weird because the tracks are situated on a weird part of the land. The line slopes one way, but looks like it goes the other. A few people debunked the legend. I need to go dig for link to the video. That there is a black panther in the hills. This is a very old folklore. I'm from Australia, so we don't get panthers in the wild. In the Dandenong Ranges? If so, I can confirm this folklore as a fellow Aussie. I've heard about this too, and have a story to tell. Experts say that they are just stray cats that can grow THST, but I didn't believe them, because I wanted to believe there are panthers there. Here's my story. One day walking home at night on New Year's, I seen a cat out the front of my house. As it turned and ran off, I realized this cat was as big as a large dog, say a small shepherd. I think the most commonly held belief is that they are escapees from traveling circuses. If a breeding pair escaped, logically there could be any number of big cats out there. They are notoriously shy animals, and Australia has a lot of rugged areas where they could just disappear into. I believe there's probably a handful out there. The Mano the Wood or Mano Woods. Small people who live in the woods near farmland. They are masters of camouflage. Sometimes if you're driving along RT7 in Connecticut, you'll see someone standing at the side of the road, but when you look directly at it, there's nothing. They don't like to interact with people. Sometimes in the winter they will stay in a barn, but usually do some simple chore to pay for their stay. Some people leave vegetables or bread out for them, and they'll come at night, take the food, and do some chores. They don't eat meat. They're peaceful and have never hurt anyone or animals. Some bachelor farmers have sighted them from far off. They're small and wear stuff that looks like moss and grass. They're said to have a very basic language, mostly grunts and gestures. I've heard similar stories online about so-called bush people that hide in bushes and eat people alive that go down the dead-end road they live in. There once was a pirate with the name Claus Saint Artibica, who eventually got caught. He and 73 of his companions were trialed and sentenced to death for being pirates. Saint Artibica made a deal with the mayor of Hamburg that every companion he could walk by after being beheaded would be released. The executioner beheaded Saint Artibica, and according to the legends he was able to walk by 11 of his companions before he got tripped by the executioner. The mayor was lying though, and the 11 men he walked by were still beheaded later. Bonus part: after executing all 74 men, 73 plus STARTEBEKER, a senator asked the executioner if he feels tired after beheading all of these men. The executioner replied that he still could easily execute the whole Senate as well. For that statement, the executioner was sentenced to death and was beheaded as well. The Ogopogo is the Canadian version of the Loch Ness Monster, and it supposedly resides in the Okanagan Valley. I couldn't find much info about it, but it's reported to be 40 to 50 meters long and is a water spirit of First Nations folklore. This was what I was planning to post as well. Just heard something on the radio the other day about somebody once again getting real footage of it, and the radio host's boyfriend completely believes it. That being said, it's a fun local legend, and I was really sad when they recently announced they were removing the giant Ogopogo statue from the playground there. I would travel to Okanagan Lake every summer and boat. Man, falling off that intertube in the middle of the lake was the most terrifying thing ever. No, I remember visiting that statue when I went to Kelowna. I misread that as water spirits of Fire Nation's folklore and was sad for a second. There are 3 tunnels in a fairly small town about an hour away from the city I live in. All 3 are supposedly haunted, but the 3rd tunnel is the one that has the most stories around it. According to legend, the 3rd tunnel collapsed when a school bus collided with it, killing everyone inside. Apparently if someone gets their car close enough to the tunnel it's closed off, then they can see small handprints in the window fog. There have also been reports from hikers of hearing laughter coming from the tunnel and feeling their clothes being tugged. The 2nd tunnel, however, isn't closed off, and legend says that if you put your car in neutral while in the tunnel at night, you can feel your car being pushed. People have also reported seeing handprints on the dust on their trunk and or the figure of a man walking by. Creepy stuff. I've also been to the town and it's already freaky enough without all these ghost stories. Black Shuck. One of the most notable reports of Black Shuck is of his appearance at the churches of Bungay and Blytheborough in Suffolk. On the 4th of August 1577, at Blytheborough, Black Shuck is said to have burst in through the doors of Holy Trinity Church to a clap of thunder. He ran up the nave, past a large congregation, killing a man and boy, and causing the church steeple to collapse through the roof. As the dog left, he left scorch marks on the north door which can be seen at the church to this day. I live about a 20-minute drive from the Holy Trinity Church in Blytheborough, and have been there several times both during the day and at night. It's actually a really charming and peaceful place, even after the sun's gone down. I have a couple of photos from during the day and all of the photos I took during the night, including the supposed scorch marks on the north door if anyone's interested. When I lived in Alabama, there is a camp where a plane supposedly crashed back in the 40s 50s. The pilot miraculously survived, but lost his legs or the use of them depending on who you ask. The detail changes. So, one night he snuck into the stables that were on the camp, cut the legs off one of the horses, and attached them to his body. Unsurprisingly, his body rejected his new legs and died. They say if you walk in the forest at night and encounter this mysterious pilot, he will cut your legs off so that he might walk again. What happens if you encounter the horse he cut the legs off of? Same as any other horse, run away from you at first, then cave your skull in if you pursue it. I think you missed the cut off legs detail when crafting this. The back legs, the front were fine. It's a really old Celtic legend. I'm Irish but it is interesting. So basically they are called banshees and they are said to be women with the wings of angels and carry small harps with them. They appear at night and are said to cry out in something like a screech or a shout. It's said that those who hear them are said to be in impending death and that most are dead by morning. There's plenty more old legends but this is the one I know best. What about crones? I have a friend who swears he encountered one somewhere in Ireland, can't remember where. I don't even know if they are supposed to be mythological creatures or just a derogatory name for creepy old women. I lived here my whole life and have not heard of crones in Irish folklore. Where in Ireland are you? I've never heard of banshees carrying harps or wings. Not sure if anyone mentioned, but the Jersey Devil. I'm originally from the Pine Barrens area of NJ. There's a story of a lady, Mother Leeds, who had 12 children. When she found out she was pregnant with the 13th, she cursed the child to be a devil. When it was born, apparently it was like a goat or a horse with wings, killed the midwife, and flew up the chimney, living out its days as a monster in the pines. There were sightings during the early 1900s and a lot of livestock killed, with multiple people offering rewards for catching the devil. Some of the stories say Mother Leeds was a witch and the child's father was the devil. Other stories state that she cursed the child because her husband was a deadbeat alcoholic, etc. Either way, it's a good frightening campfire tale for when you're camping in the Pine Barrens. Okay, so I first heard of this one from an old dude a long time ago and other people told me a bunch of times later. There is this legend of Moikisiki the trickster who one day felt the Pacific Ocean was too vast and desolate. He decided to put some islands around. He asks this dude who had a magic hook that could do that, and the dude agrees to lend it to him if he could pick the right one out of a bunch of other hooks from his massive hook collection. The dude's wife kinda feels sorry for him and tells him which one it is, and Moi gets to walk away with the magic hook. With it, he pulls up a bunch of islands from the ocean floor. And that's how the islands of Tonga came to be, according to the really old people anyway. If you watch the Disney film Moana closely, you can see Moi has a tattoo of himself doing this. The local crackhead has various conflicting backstories. I really hope this comment gets more attention. One of the funnier ones, if seen on Reddit lol. Well, that's one of the nicest responses to a comment I've seen on this site. Thank you very much. Of course. And hey, it did get the attention. Congrats on gold. Do you wanna know how I got these scars? No, Clive. I really don't want to hear that again. Here's a $5. Go get yourself a 40 and calm down a bit, man. I used to run a hotel that is notorious for housing drug dealers. The same guy came in numerous times and told me at least 3 different backstories. There's a statue of a tall blue horse outside the Denver airport whose eyes glow red at night. Its original name is the Blue Mustang, but we call it Blue Cipher apparently. Soon after the artist was done painting its head, it fell on his leg, severing an artery and killing him. And interestingly enough, that same airport has had conspiracy theories tying it to things like the Illuminati. My cat is named Blue, and I call him Blue Cipher when he's being bad. It makes me happy that he shares his nickname with the demonic horse statue. My cat is named Blue, and I call him Blue Cipher when he's being bad. It makes me happy that he shares his nickname with the demonic horse statue. Bouchkara, which literally means father bag. He supposedly roams the Medina of Tunis at night, kidnapping children by throwing them in a canvas wool bag he carries on his shoulder. What makes Bouchkara interesting isn't the monster himself, but his representation. The old representations were of basically Hagrid in traditional clothing. He then changed to be a small gremlin-like creature that literally jumped children with the bag. Each era had its version, from versions during World War II that showed him as a clean-looking man, to the hobo version of post-independence, to basically neocortex without the beard or mustache in the 90s.